Hi, my name is Vince Rasky and I'm from Tri-County Schools, and I'm here today to talk to you about coming up with a practice schedule. This is probably one of the hardest things that a coach has to deal with, and that's coming up with a schedule for when you can practice with your kids. The first thing you need to do really is establish a goal for how many practices or how many hours a week you want to have with a given group or individual. Once you have that in mind, then you go to the scheduling stage. The first thing you need to do is have your schedule handy. You need to know when you're available to be at practices. Second, you want the kids' schedule. You need to know when they have their sports practices or when they work or any conflict dates that they have when they're just not available. Third, you may need to check to make sure the venue or area location that you need to practice in is available and when it's available, okay? So once you have those three things, your schedule, the kid's schedule, the venue schedule, you put those together, and any open spots you have or common spots you have in that calendar, those are your available practice times, okay? Now, a couple of tips. One, you're not always going to be able to have long practices with the kids, an hour or 2 hours long. Sometimes you're only going to have short practices, a half hour, 45 minutes, even 15 minutes. I strongly recommend you find ways to have productive practices that are short. Maybe focus on a small piece of the script or just work on a certain skill. Another thing you should think about is morning practices. Sometimes morning is the only time you can get all the kids in the room together. I've always found that doing morning practices, it's best to bribe the kids. And I like to use donuts to get my kids in. Another thing to be aware of when doing your schedule is check your school's policy on church night. There may be a night of the week where you're not allowed to have practice after a certain time, or they may have restrictive hours on Sundays as to when you can and can't practice. And then finally, make sure you communicate with your athletic director and the coaches if you're sharing kids. Sometimes the coaches don't think about changing practices and the consequences it has on other programs. So make sure you communicate with them and let them know that I'm making my schedule based on your schedule, and any changes will mess it up. Well, good luck, and I hope you have a productive season and have a great year.